Welcome back, and thanks for joining me for another edition of Electric Avenue's YouTube updates. I can't say I'm Mr. Rourke, your host. I think I've used that one before. Hey, thanks for joining me and for continuing to support the channel and continuing to stay plugged in to new stuff that's coming out on vinyl and CD and whatever sort of else I feel like talking about. So today I'm going to run through new releases. This is again sort of a bigger week than expected for January. Nothing sort of like wow, I've never seen that before. I mean, maybe. You never know. Maybe to you it's new. There are new things here. The other thing is next week, the 27th, is a really big week. Biggest month since probably November. Biggest week. So I will go over stuff for next week a little bit later. Let me get to the new releases for this week. Something that people have been waiting 7-8 months for on vinyl is finally arriving. The new Wilco, Cruel Country. This was a double album that they put out back in May as streaming. I don't know if you can even read the track list. It's sort of, the artwork sort of overtakes the information in a sense, but that's cool. I kind of like this sort of paying homage to country music of the cover. This is on Indie Limited first vinyl pressing, red and white vinyl. There is another pressing coming on black vinyl soon, but they didn't have those in at the warehouse. This was the only one that they had, and these were already sold out by the time that we had our shipment sent. So not hanging around for very long. New York Times said Wilco makes an understated magnum opus, and Uncut Magazine America's Greatest Band. Well, I think this album got a lot of critical acclaim. I don't know if I saw it. It wasn't really on the top of people's lists for 2022, but it was on a lot of lists. So, but it's nice to finally have that on vinyl. Another sort of big, this is more of a reissue, but I get a lot of requests for this band all the time. Days of the New. This was a big album back in the late 90s. I say big, it didn't actually crack the top 50 on the Billboard charts, if you can believe that, but it did sell a lot just over a long amount of time. This had the song Touch, Peel, and Stand was sort of the hit, but this is available on vinyl for the first time, featuring, that hit that I mentioned, Certified Platinum, 97 debut. They really only made 3 albums and then sort of imploded due to some personal problems, I believe, with the lead singer. But this was produced by Scott Litt, who a lot of you might know as a longtime REM producer. The only thing that kind of sucks is price is pushing $50, but it is a music on vinyl import pressing, double vinyl. I don't think it's color. It doesn't say, but anyway, that's an album that's been long desired for people, so good to see that. This week we have a couple of Blue Note classics that have been arriving. Grant Green's Green is Beautiful, record you don't see very often in regular editions, so that's pretty cool. Mastered from original analog tapes by Kevin Gray at Coherent Audio. I've seen that on a sticker hundreds of times now, and that's usually a sign of very good quality audiophile vinyl reissue. Features 5 pretty long tracks. So Blue Mitchell's on here. Idris Muhammad is on here. Anyway, there's the back. The other one, they usually come in pairs, is Bobby Hutcherson, San Francisco. And this record features Harold Land on saxophone. Same information about mastering and stuff like that. Also 6 fairly long tracks. That includes a Joe Sample track called 2 tracks, Going Down South and Jazz. Let's see. And Joe Sample actually plays piano and electric piano on it. So if you're into Joe Sample, There you go. Boy, the jazz reissue market is just always heated lately, and that's great for all of those jazz fans. This is pretty cool. Bethlehem Records putting out Art Blakey's Jazz Messengers Hard Drive. This record is 1957, made in New York, classic hard bop album. Features for minors only, right down front, Dio and Sweet Sakina on side A, For Miles and Miles, Crafty and Late Spring on side B. Yeah. A lot of information as usual. Pretty cool. I love that Bethlehem, whoever picked that up as BMG is putting them out, is paying some attention to this catalog too. Another one, Duke Ellington Presents. Also 1956 in Chicago, a big band classic. Here he's doing My Funny Valentine, Summertime, Cottontail, Indian Summer. Those are some of the more famous ones on here. But I see Clark Terry listed in the trumpet section, and Johnny Hodges, some famous names on here too. So again, a lot of information. That's one thing that you got to say with these jazz guys, is they generally don't skimp on information, although this one has very little information, but still very cool. Felonious Monk, at the Village Gate, 1963. This is on Naked Lunch Records, which I know much less about, and I don't know if this is sort of what I would call a renowned label, but still very cool. Not a lot of information on that, but yeah, sometimes that's what you get. You get what you get. Ella Fitzgerald, live at Montreux, 1969. And this is on Mercury did this. Yep, Mercury Universal. This is interesting because she does things like Sunshine of Your Love and Hey Jude. And Alive. 1969 performance backed by the Tommy Flanagan Trio. All right. There you go. Let's see. So, non-jazz reissue that's sort of highly renowned. Looked for UFOs, No Heavy Petting. This is sort of a big mid-70s rock record that probably didn't get quite the sales, and I don't know if any of UFOs did, that they probably deserved, but this is pretty cool because it's a 3 LP set, just like the last one. They sort of have done this sort of expanded edition with a live concert stuff on here, and what else did I want to say about that? I don't remember. Michael Schenker on guitar. That's probably one of the most well-known people in this band. So anyway, UFO, get it while you can. All right, new John Cale, Mercy. John being once erstwhile of Velvet Underground, an amazing producer, done so much work with, everyone, Nico, and his own records too, and such a collaborator for a lot of people. And I was like, oh, I could just give you a whole list of names, but I think it's probably better if you just go look them up. The cool thing about this, not only is John 80 or pushing 80, or I think he's about that age now, but there's a song on here called Moonstruck, Nico's song, but he also sort of, again, is collaborating with people. He's got Animal Collective, Sylvan Esso, and Weissblood on here, to name a few. So, yeah, and this is the indie retail exclusive translucent violet vinyl. So check that out. More reissues. Now I'm sort of bouncing back and forth, but one of my favorite B-52s records, Whammy, finally getting an actual decent reissue from Warner. They haven't really been putting this one out. They tend to focus on the first two, and then they go for Cosmic Thing. And I have to admit, because of my age, this was sort of the album that kind of introduced me to them, and I was completely hooked, and then went and listened to, Rock Lobster and stuff. This was the album that featured Legal Tender, which got played a ton on MTV when it first came out. But it also has Whammy Kiss, Butterbean, which is a great song. And of course, Song for a Future Generation, which they say, let's meet and have a baby now. Which is sort of like what's going on now. This is a limited edition splatter vinyl record too, color wise. So, and they did do that also with the first two albums when those came out on the Rocktober promotion back in October, and we have very few of those left. So again, I will say, and I've said this before, with these Rhino reissues that they've been doing, the Rocktober stuff, it's a case of, some things sell out really quickly. Like, I saw quite a quick run on, like, Yes and Billy Cobham in the recent one, Dire Straits. And then the thing is, they're gone. They might sit there for a little bit, and then all of a sudden one day they're gone, and then you're like, oh, I wish I had bought that, The Cars have some. So I wouldn't wait on those for too long, because not only that, they sound great. Rhino's done a really good job with, everything from Ramones to Chicago even. But they not only sound great, but the pressings are like kind of cool somehow. Like they're some sort of color or something like that. And they're collector's items too. So anyway, if you love the bands, support that. Another one that they just are putting out is Hot Tunas Burgers. And boy, when you see this record in a store, it's usually all sort of beat up and like it's been played a lot. And this is a 50-year anniversary of it, featuring Jack Cassidy, Jorma Kaukonen, Papa John Creech, and Sammy Piazza. Features Water Song and Highway Song with David Crosby. Limited edition on transparent orange vinyl. I think, people who love this is going to go fairly quickly. And I don't know how many Rhino makes. That's the other thing, is they don't really tell you. I know how many are made of this. Juliana Hatfield 3, Become What You Are. 500 copies, people. Not too many. Indie Record Shop exclusive, yellow splatter on clear vinyl. 500 copies pressed includes Spin the Bottle and My Sister. Everyone knows the song if you were in the 90s. My Sister, what a great song. I hate my sister, she's such a bitch. It's a great lyric, and you never forget it, right? So, and that's one of Juliana's, I think, one of her great albums. So, started in like Blake Babies, I think, or at least that was the first band I remember her being in. I'm sure she was in stuff before that, but Bad Brains, The Youth Are Getting Restless, live at the Paradiso, Amsterdam, 1987. Been doing a lot of Bad Brains reissues recently. Mix produced by Ron St. Germain. I don't know if you can see the track list there, but anyway, Band in DC's on here. Youth Are Getting Restless, Rock for Light, Big Takeover. Yeah. So, and this is indie exclusive Transparent Blue. All right. Little hip hop, Raekwon, and this is Only Built for Cuban Links. Says Chef Raekwon. This is actually sort of a limited pressing, I think. The picture, there's no sticker on here, but the picture online made it look like it was silver and gold, or like gray and yellow. I'm not really exactly sure what, but it's a split color vinyl. So Raekwon fans, collector's item. Record Store Day continues with their series, The Far Side, Bizarre Ride to the Far Side. And you can tell from the RSD OB strip that they've been doing here. This is clear with yellow and purple splatter vinyl, number 29 in this series. Again, this was an album that was featured quite heavily on MTV back in the 80s. Another cool reissue, David Byrne, live from Austin, Texas. You don't see this one very often, and I don't know if I've seen it on vinyl. Maybe not. I don't know if it's ever been on vinyl. If it has, it was very limited before my time. So this is from 2001, November 28th. So what, just right around, 2 months after 9/11. This was from Austin, Texas. Features sort of a smattering of David's solo and Talking Head stuff. It does nothing. He does nothing but Flowers, and She Was, This Must Be the Place, and Life During Wartime. It doesn't have like the big hits, although I'm sorry, there is Once in a Lifetime is on here. And then the cool thing, I don't know if you ever saw this, is that he ends this show with a cover of Whitney Houston's I Want to Dance with Somebody, and it actually works really well. It does sound, totally makes it sound like a Talking Heads song. So check that out. Those are limited. Everything here is limited generally. What can I say? Monaskin, I don't know if this is the first vinyl of theirs I've seen. This band has been like making major circuits on Saturday Night Live and all sorts of night shows. Whatever. Rush, the new album from Grammy-nominated Best New Artist. I think you say it as Monaskin. I don't know. And the funny thing is, the back cover is sort of a takeoff of the Lord album cover, but they put a big sticker right over the girls. I'm assuming it's the crotch shot. I don't know, because I'm not taking the sticker off to see it, but it does feature Tom Morello on this album, so calling in the big names. Caitlyn Rose, she keeps putting out records, and Kazemi, I think is how you say this. That's her new album. There's definitely a Caitlyn fan base in the sort of like, it's a small fan base, but they're rabid. And that's great. You want to have dedicated fans. Sylvan Esso is another band here. I mentioned them already on the new John Cale album. This one is called No Rules, Sandy. And I don't know if I can even read this. Limited edition, indie retail exclusive Tiger's Eye vinyl. Ooh, Tiger's Eye. They're sort of indie-tronic type band. I don't know. They keep making records too, so they have fans. Guided by Voices. This is the new project La La Land, and it's not really like full album length, I wouldn't say. Looks like it runs about a half an hour, but the price is reflective of that too. It's not break the bank or whatever, unless I'm sort of missing something here, but I don't know. It's hard to keep up with Guided by Voices. If this is an older reissue, I apologize, but they have what feels like 100 releases at least, and they all start running together at some point. But I mean, yes, Robert Pollard is a genius. I think we can all sort of acknowledge that. But there's a lot of material. So anyway, that makes it sort of difficult. Sometimes you don't know where to jump in. I suppose that there are always sort of touchstones for certain bands, but Spirit Box, Eternal Blue, this is an album that's a reissue here. I would get a lot of requests on this here and there, and we could never really get the album. There was always some kind of problem with it. So we do have one right now. This is on Eternal Blue. Oh, well, it's Eternal Blue is, sorry, the name of the album. It's black vinyl, but it's good to see that out because it was the debut record, 2021. So yeah, it's just last year. I don't know why it feels like it was longer ago. It feels like because of the pandemic and all, the time element is sort of like nothing feels right yet. Like how much time things have passed. And the Maytals, yeah, well, 28 classics by Jamaica's greatest ever vocal group, from the legendary vaults of Beverly's Records, Double Yellow Vinyl, Essential Artist Collection. And that looks really nice. I think if you're into sort of, I want to say ska, reggae, island kind of music or whatever, that sort of covers the bases for a lot of the Maytals issues. And we lost Toots, what, a year and a half ago? Was it that long? Maybe it was 2. But I think he had COVID, which was tragic, as many have been. Halloween Ends, the soundtrack from John Carpenter. This was for the recent album. It says, let's see, it's indie exclusive pumpkin orange vinyl. Of course it is. All right. And let's see, one more here. Luther Dickinson of North Mississippi All Stars, Rock and Roll Blues. This is a reissue of a 2014 album. But if you like your blues, southern, and sort of rockin', although, no, I mean, this is Rock and Roll Blues. Looks like he's got an acoustic guitar on the cover that's plugged in. I've never heard this album. I've got friends who are totally into North Mississippi All Stars. So if you guys know that and you like them, there you go. A few CDs to mention. This is way cool. Jethro Tull, Thick as a Brick. This is the reissue package that was supposed to come out months ago. And I'm thinking that because, not just because it's CD, DVD, but because they felt the need to put it in this major book format. You can see how thick that is. And it's a reasonable $25. I wonder how long it'll be before Chrysalis realizes that they're undercharging for that. No, I don't know. I mean, I think that because it's a DVD with the CD, that's probably what the thinking is there. But, and they want to get people to buy it. So smart in a way. Has new stereo mixes in 5.1 by Steven Wilson of Porcupine Tree. He's got a new solo record coming out soon that he's been talking about. Mac DeMarco, if you can really see that. The cover's kind of hard to see. I don't know. My camera work. He's got a chiper, a chin diaper on the back. It's called 5 Easy Hot Dogs, and apparently it's all instrumental, but it is new Mac DeMarco. The Bad Ends, which I think I got another a vinyl coming of this too, but this is actually sort of an Athens GA supergroup, and Bill Berry of REM. It's the first thing that he's done band-wise since leaving REM. So I guess, it must be low-key enough that he's not going to have any health problems, because that was sort of the reason for leaving in the first place. Catatonia, Sky Void of Stars. This is their new record in sort of a little booklet format. And another one which is available on vinyl, I just didn't have one to show you right now, but Ladytron, Times Arrow, and they're back with an album on cooking vinyl. I think their last album was really good. I liked it. It was a self-released record, and it really, I don't think it benefited by them trying to do it all themselves. I think that was something that, if they'd had more of a company behind it, it probably would have done better. But, sort of live and learn. It's kind of like you're going out into the world and trying to make sense of what is going on with the industry right now, the industry, as it were, and make your way, try to get your music heard, try to get it promoted the right way. And you're dealing with all sorts of, social media issues. I mean, it's almost overwhelming at some point. I can see where some artists kind of start saying like enough and just try to assume control, and then they do that, and then their music doesn't reach the audience that they want it to reach. So who knows? All right, so I mentioned next week being a big deal ish. I don't have that up on the board here for you to see, so don't look at that. But it's not like I'm finally getting caught up from Christmas and being sick and dealing with a pet death and the flood from the fire that happened next door. So there's been a lot. And yeah, I'm finally getting sort of caught up. But wanted to let you know next week is a big box set week on the 27th. If you're into Bob Dylan, the Time Out of Mind sessions comes out next week. Some of these things I think would have been out before Christmas, but they probably couldn't get them made in time. Anyway, that features a lot of outtakes from the making of that album in the 90s, which many consider, if not his best, one of his best albums. So, and another box set next week, Green Day, the Nimrod box set. So a lot of bonus material with that. Some of these also have smaller versions. Like, I know the Dylan... being an indie store, we're only allowed to sell the 4 LP version on vinyl. There's like a 10 LP version that you can get straight from him, which is kind of crappy, I think, because it kind of takes out our chance of actually getting to sell it to a customer, but whatever. I mean, he's not the only one that does that. I've seen Grateful Dead have done that. Paul McCartney. It's usually like big name, people who have lots of big managers and big egos. I don't know. Or the managers have egos, not necessarily the artists, right? Let's see. There's an Elvis live box set that comes out on CD next week. And I think the other one that people have been sort of asking about is the New Order Low Life box set, which... I don't know, the way they've been packaging those, it's cool that they put the album on vinyl in there, but then sort of like the seal box up here, then there's a bunch of CDs with a bunch of like extra material. Okay, that's cool. But then to get the 12-inch singles that came out at that time, which would be Subculture, Shell Shock, and Perfect Kiss. You have to buy those separately outside of the box. Like, maybe they should just put them in the box and it would have been a more attractive sort of thing for some people. But a lot of people just don't want to do the mixed media, and they might want a remastered version of Low Life on vinyl, but they don't want to buy the whole box set. It becomes like this sort of format war thing that I don't really want to get into too much here. But yeah, you can kind of see where people get a little like, ugh, why are they doing that? There's also a Thin Lizzy box set for Live and Dangerous, and that is on CD, I believe, and then there might be a smaller version of it, but the 8 CD box set is like every concert that they did to make that album, because that album was made up of pieces from other shows that they'd performed. Other things next week that might be of interest, The Cure's Wish on black vinyl. I know those of you that bought the picture disc, I'm sorry, I was one of them too. And I just played it again the other night and it still sounds great. So I'm sort of like, yeah, I kind of need it anyway, because I do love this album. But yeah, so that, because I don't know, Rhino sort of, is it Rhino or Warner, kind of dropped the ball with Wild Mood Swings and didn't do a follow-up pressing on that one. So we really didn't know what was going on. And it's part of that Start Your Ear Off Right campaign. So other things to mention that are new next week. Elle King, Joe Henry. There's a Marvin Gaye live reissue. Ava Max, Kimbra, King Tuff, Eddie 9 Volt. There's a Luna reissue on vinyl. There's Ghost Meliora is coming out in a different color or something. Marianne Faithfull, Kissin' Time, that was, I think I mentioned, that's a great album that features work from Billy Corgan, Beck, Damon Albarn, Jarvis Cocker, quite a few sort of like British rockers, Dave Stewart. Anyway, so that might be something of interest. New S.G. Lewis. Proclaimers have a new record. John Coltrane has a reissue in the Winner's Circle. So I don't know, that's just a sort of a smattering of what's coming out next week. And then we're into February, and February is kind of like it seems sort of hit and miss. I think what they're doing this year is they've put out a lot of stuff through like the holidays, and January has quite a bit. And it looks like early February they're sort of backing off a little bit. And most of the big hitters are coming like late February this year, which is probably smart because usually when there's issues with weather, it makes sense to kind of put those things out when people can actually get to the store. And like the 24th of February is the new Gorillaz album, U.S. Girls, David Bowie's the Hunky Dory sort of box set highlights on vinyl, reissues from Ghost, the Neutral Milk Hotel box, Shame, a bunch of other sort of like things that are, but there'll be things all month. And I'll be doing these probably about every week. I hope that this is about enough of what you can take from me week to week, because it's about all I can offer up. No, if I had expendable time, I would do more of these, but I think you're getting enough information that is necessary with whatever's here. Unless you're just so entertained by this personality that you just can't get enough, which I'm being totally sarcastic about. All right. Thanks all for watching again, and have a great weekend. And, take some time and enjoy some music. We're sort of heading into that zone where football is sort of ramping up or down depending on, you're sort of like, well, what's happening with the Super Bowl? And that's always seems to be more of a holiday than Valentine's Day or President's Day or anything like that. So anyway, enjoy the music while you're sort of hunkered down indoors if it's gloomy or something. It's what I'm trying to say, because I know when the summer comes, everybody's going to be like, I just want to go outside. All right. Take care. Have a great weekend. Peace.